This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, I got Sakura, I got Rob, I got James, I got a little bit of everybody. How's it going today, everybody?
Good.
Hey, everybody safe? I hope everybody's safe this week.
Super safe.
Especially Sakura.
Boy, rough ride this week. This weekend was pretty, enlightening. So I'm happy to be with you guys, and I just ask that we do send some prayers out to everybody in my community, my township, in the Southeast USA that is, been struck with this. I'm calling her the devil. Haleen is the devil. So we ask for y'all prayers for sure.
Was about as bad as it can get.
Yeah, I mean, up in Illinois, we even felt it, so I can only imagine how bad you had it down there. So yeah, thoughts, prayers, anything that you can send.
Oh my God, it's like so unfathomable to me that you were in Illinois and you were, you had some effects from that storm. Like that was crazy. Yeah,
I mean, we were catching the tail of it basically, which is just nuts. Like it's still a piece of the hurricane that was getting us. I think I showed you guys, but it blew off my gazebo, and it broke it. Almost went into my pool. Almost broke my pool. And we're talking about far, far, far from Florida, far from the actual storm. So, it's been a lot, and I can only imagine, like I said, how bad you guys have it down there. Thanks for joining us, Javi.
I think the worst part for everybody is like the
driving.
I show you guys can't hear me,
but, made it through, huh?
What was that?
I'm here. And I just want to say, I just want to open up the show with one thing. Sandy Ryan won.
All right, don't start that already.
Yes, sir.
Man, we can go into
yes, sir. I want to hear that.
We can go into it if y'all want to. See, you already got me revved up.
Before we do, let's get him even more revved up. Let's talk Baumgardner-Persoon went to a no contest, guys. Let's talk about it. Oh, Javi dipped off.
That was disappointing for sure. That it ended up being a nothing burger to me. I hate to say that, but
no.
on the positive side is Baumgardner's return, and she held her own in that fight, and it just it wasn't what we had hoped it was going to be, as competitive as we thought it would be, to me anyway. But I definitely think that women's boxing is better with someone like Baumgardner being active and participating in the sport than her being outcast or exiled, or what they calling it, suspended. So I do think it's a better future matchups, basically, is what I'm saying, for females with her active.
Definitely, and maybe it would have been better if it went past 4. I mean, the fight really didn't get a chance to get all the way going, so maybe it was just a slow starter. Maybe he was going to get good. I don't know, but like you, I'm also very disheartened about it. Maybe we'll get a rematch. Maybe we don't want a rematch. I'm not sure.
Yeah, what got me, like, as soon as I saw her in the ring, Persoon, I'm like looking at her leg all wrapped up, and it's like reminding me of Sergio in his fight against, Cotto when he won the belt. It's like, right. What is she injured? What's going on? Why is this long, wrap on her legs like that? So I was suspect from the beginning of it, just seeing her appearance. So I don't know why, like, it ended in the 4th and we didn't get to see what each woman really had to give. And because they really dig deep, females. when they fight, they really dig deep in the final rounds because it's only the 2-minute rounds. So the whole fight just ended up being disheartening to me. But like I said, I think that it is a better outlook for female matchups with Baumgardner being an option in that matchup game.
I definitely agree with you guys. Are you wanting to see the rematch, get to see this fight actually finished, or do you not care?
No, I do. But I wish Persoon is in better shape and a little more healthy. Because obviously there was something wrong with her leg, and at least she got some type of wraps around it. Because with the thing when Sergio Martinez fought Cotto, remember, I think it was in New York State. They wanted him to not have any type of knee brace, so that's why he had these long ass ridiculous trunks to try to like cover his kneecaps. But you know what I'm saying? Like you could tell that his legs were not there, and it was a sad spectacle to see. And I think that was the case here. Luckily, she had some type of knee brace around her legs, but you could tell she wasn't fully healthy. I don't think that's a Persoon that we saw for that gave. I think it was Mayer the one of the toughest fight. So I think I would like to see the fight finish when she's 100% or at least close to it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't want to see anybody come into a fight period with a knee brace on, especially after the Martinez thing. No, clearly you're not 100%.
Yeah.
You got to be able to move. You got to be able to get around. And no, I don't want to see nobody fight with no damn knee brace.
But see, that's the thing, though, Lucas. So if a fighter shows up even like that, right? We kind of don't like it because we understand that they have this handicap. But then when they pull out of the fight, we also criticize like, what the hell? You're a champion. You're supposed to suck it up, walk it off, and come through and, bleed it out. So in reality, it's like, damn if you do it, damn if you don't.
I mean, you're not wrong. But if you can't walk something off, then maybe don't have the fight. If you can't walk right, that leg ain't working. You gotta do something else, man. I mean, you gotta call off the fight at some point. But
that is.
My thing is, I didn't see much in the first 3 rounds anyway. I mean, the 4th round, that you had that one incident, but she didn't do much in the first 3 rounds. She didn't look very strong. I don't know if it was, lack of training or inability to train or whatever it was, but I think that Baumgardner would have probably knocked her out.
So James hit the nail on the head for me, because we're all sitting here focused on the knee brace and possible injury to her knee, or whatever the case may be. And that's not why the fight was stopped. The fight was stopped for a bad cut. So I think James hit the nail on the head there, is that she did not look good in those first 4 rounds leading up to the cut. The knee is not why she stopped the fight. It's because of the cut. And you know what? Those things happen in boxing. They do. I think it's even more gracious that the fact that we're all a little upset that we didn't get to see this fight, and it's a women's bout more than anything, because this happens with the men all the time, and we shrug it off because we know that this thing can happen. But I just think that it's more meaningful that we're upset that we didn't get to see the rest of this fight, or both combatants at 100%, because they're women fighters. And you know what? Hats off to Persoon, because like Javi said there again, she took the fight, and she came in the ring and took the fight under not being 100%. And I think that's saying a lot for an athlete in any sport that tries to go out there and perform when they're not 100%.
I definitely agree with that statement. And I think another big issue is that we're remembering Delphine from a time period when she fought Katie Taylor twice. Guys, I think the last time she fought her, you know how long ago that was? And I didn't realize it. It says August of 2020. So it's already been 4 years, a little over 4 years since that. And I think that's the issue, is like we're remembering her when she was in top shape and she was, giving Katie Taylor problems. But in actuality, I mean, and she's had fights in between. She's stayed active, no doubt. She stayed active, but it's still just, that's been a long time since she had like that type of high level competition.
That's true.
And she's 39.
And you know what? We do gotta take our hats off because a lot of fighters, probably would have pulled out of the fight, come out with something, and we wouldn't be making like, oh, maybe she wasn't on weight, maybe she wasn't ready, she didn't get but she showed up, and you're right. I mean, the stop was the cut, but you could tell that we based on what the few rounds that we saw, I could tell where it was going already. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like they stopped it before we already knew which fate the fight was gonna go. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah.
I just hope that Baumgardner moves up because there's really not a lot in her division.
Is it me or am I having internet issues? Because I'm not.
No, I haven't noticed anything.
Okay, so it's not internet. That still might not be right.
It's Javi over there. He got somebody on the passenger side. He's sorry. It's Javi.
No, because you guys were freezing up too. So it's
no. That's my son. That's my son. We just came from the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy? No, I'm thinking it is just my Wi-Fi is still not acting properly.
Huh? So, I haven't noticed anything yet.
I zone out on
no, I haven't noticed that yet. Let's talk.
I zone out on you
guys. Shakura, this night is for you, baby. This is a big weekend for women's boxing. So
it was a big week.
It was.
That's what I said. We're winning because it didn't matter. It didn't matter who won. I felt like we were winning because I said my fellas are into these women fights this weekend.
I got calls back home.
I was just happy. My power kept going in and out, so I was just relying on you guys in the group text to try to like help me out with everything. But I was just still so excited that you guys were like really into these fights. So kudos to you guys, the heavy bag fellas, because 4 years ago, even I was trying to like beg you guys to please watch the women fights and trying to convince you guys of how, competitive it is and how exciting it is and how fine the women are to look at. I was just trying any tactic possible to get you guys to watch. So I'm happy and proud of my heavy bag buddies.
Listen, I got calls back home. So that's a lot. It always, from all of us, when you get calls back home saying, hey, man, you watching this fight? It's a great night. In particular, this one that we got coming up next. Lucas, go ahead and introduce it.
I'm going to introduce it as Rob's girl, Michaela May. It takes Sandy Ryan's WBO welterweight title. I thought it was a great fight. A lot of people saw Ryan win. Rob?
So let's start this off with this topic right here. I haven't seen this before in boxing. It kind of was very intriguing, and I want y'all to take. What the hell happened with this paint by situation with Sandy Ryan? We got to have your take on this. What happened?
Man.
Awesome.
I think it was just some weirdo out there. Not
you know what?
To the team or anything.
I'm not okay with that.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not sure if the teams were involved or if the teams were not involved, but that should not be happening because at the end of the day, this is a business, this is a sports event, and that shit has no place in a boxing match. The tensions are already high. There's enough pressure on a fighter to perform, especially when you come into a whole new land. The chick's not even from here. Now, I'm from New York. New York is a very shiesty place when it could be, but come on now, let's respect the athletes. Let's respect anybody that comes from across the pond and it's about to perform and it's about to give us a good show, that shit has no business in boxing. I don't care if it is the local fighter or the outside fighter, the that's no matter which race brings it. I it just like I can see the shit talking, the little bit tensions to build a fight, but there's a fine line of the straight disrespectful out of pocket shit. And I believe like that shit was some out of pocket shit. It was you could tell Sandy Ryan was disturbed when that stupid Kriegel guy was asking, but let me see your eyes, take off that hat. Let me
That was
see.
bad.
That shit was so fucking cringe to watch. Excuse my French.
That was bad.
And you know what I'm saying? Like first of all, who told this idiot that it's okay to like ask those type of questions to somebody that's already disturbed, that's probably going into, one of the biggest fight of his career. So I don't know. The whole thing was painful to watch, but I'm not trying to jump the gun. And then she gets robbed. Man, I feel for that girl, man.
Well, I will say this.
That is the second time that she's been to the United States and hasn't got the decision when a large majority of the boxing fans felt that she possibly won or that it at least was a draw. But getting back to the paint situation, Rob, my thing is she is coming from the United Kingdom, and she's facing somebody from the United States. We need to make sure that our boxers are protected when they come. And also, we as American fans should not be throwing paint on an opponent, like that's just like so classless, tasteless. And it did have the effect that they wanted, which they wanted to get her off her game. And I believe that definitely worked in favor of Mare because her mindset was revenge mode, basically. Like all the boxing skills kind of, the Sandy Ryan that I'm used to seeing, like that wasn't her style. That she was able to be baited into a fight that is more Mayor's type of fight than her type of fight, in my opinion. But let's just say that as somebody from the United States, I don't want anybody from the UK to be feeling like they can't come over here and compete and expect the best out of the fans. I don't know if it was a fan or if it was somebody that was connected to Mayor's team. But I just feel like that's not the way to go. Like that's not the representation that we want to portray. And I don't want people in other countries feeling like this what might be acceptable to when you come to the United States. I don't like that.
No, I mean we've got to be really careful here. But the idea is that I don't think that there's any connection to Michaela Mayer. And we're looking at the actions of some idiot out there who has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, but you know what? I if that's the case, where Michaela Mayer or anybody on her team has nothing to do with it, hopefully that's the case. I'm praying that that's the case.
Yeah.
But still, I still believe the case should be investigated because imagine if there was an American that happened to be in the UK or in any other country, and that happens. Us of Americans, we're gonna be talking all that shit like, "Hey, what's going on?" We want to demand some answers. So I believe that should be investigated. I mean, if we're gonna sue opponents, if we're gonna do all that extra shit, then I believe the New York Athletic Commission should also, find some time and find out more thoroughly what happened and make sure that all fighters are protected before the fight, during the fight, and after the fight. Mind you, I believe that happened at the venue. So she was already at the venue at that hotel where they fought. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And even if she wasn't,
she was at the hotel and she was coming out.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they fought at MSG, either the theater or the big room, they stay, and I forgot the name of this hotel, but it's literally across the street.
Yeah.
It was across the street.
Right.
But it wasn't at the venue. But let me say this. Just because I'm me, I have to do this. Okay? First of all, I don't condone the actions of some crazy nut case. throwing paint on somebody before, especially before the bout, anything like that. I don't condone stuff like that at all. But Sandy, you're the champion. You're an athlete. That should not be the excuse of why you don't perform to your best and lose the bout. Shake that shit off. Go out there and perform at your absolute best.
Which I think
That
she
should
did.
not be an excuse.
Right. I don't think she used it as an excuse. I think she performed to the best of her abilities, and I think she actually got a knock. There was another agenda there. Besides the women's fight, I don't think Shushu even got it. And I love Shushu. I love Michaela. I'm a big fan, supporter of them. But I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I don't think they won. You know. And I probably would have been a lot more happy with a draw, even though I still would have been like, okay, this is bullshit. But like rile up opponents because they are the B side, or they're the outsiders. That's not cool because Sagawa clearly won. Ryan really won. Yeah, there were some close, good fights, but let's give the champions. You know what I'm saying? Let's give the W where it goes, not where we want them to be. Of course, we're gonna protect the local guys, but that's not cool, man. Like I said, I'm a fan of Makula. I'm a fan of Sushu. I'm gonna still support them, but that win against the Gawa, that win against Ryan, I'm gonna have a question mark and a start right next to it because there's a lot of answers. You know, there's a lot of questions, and on that fight for me.
The scores were actually kind of close. One of the judges had it a draw, and then the other.
What you talking, Carrington and who?
Between Mayer and Ryan.
So as you can tell, Javi's a little upset about both decisions on that card. That I want to clear up. So he's referring to the bout, the co-main with Shushu Carrington got a decision pretty much that the fans even felt was gifted to him. The commentators as well, I believe they thought it was a closer bout, maybe even thought it shouldn't have went his way wholeheartedly. So Javi's talking about both bouts at Madison Square Garden that night.
Yes,
just
sir.
to put some clarity on that there. Going back though, real quick to the topic in hand with the issue with the paint and everything that went on there, saving my judgment for what actually went on in the fight. I will say this again. I don't feel like it should be an excuse. I feel like things happen that we can't, we can't account for, especially in this environment and in this world today. Things happen that we can't account for. That being said, though, Sandy did come out and fight.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of like when a whole card, like when you start seeing like, come on, judges, and you're on the bottom part of the card, like you're on the preliminaries and the undercard. You haven't even got to the main and the co-main events, and you're seeing little inadequacies or things that don't, really line up with what you think you're seeing. From multiple cameras. That's what a fan has when they're watching on TV. I'm just going to add that to be fair. But, when you start seeing things like that and you haven't even got to the main, the main card that appeared on ESPN, the regular channel, like you already know, like, well, okay, because they keep the same judges the entire night. They're just rotating them. Okay, so you already know. All right, let's see. I already man, if this is close, I already know what's finna happen. I mean, he just did not look good. Yeah, he just did not look good against that guy in any form.
Well, Sagawa's good to fight anyone like that.
The
guy was good.
So I mean, open up that.
I've not seen you that way before, so I know he has to be good. But was he rewarded for being good? No. And they came out and they put all these titles on Shushu. I mean, they secondary titles, but still, you know, he got all these adornments, and you know, the real winner, what does he get as a consolation prize?
So Lucas, now let's open up that thing, Shakur. Yeah,
Because
I
as
was
you
trying to
say,
get.
James, it's on box rec who won.
I was
Technically, who
that's what
won?
I want to get
It
at.
is, you
Okay,
know,
that's what I
so
want to get
it's
at.
you two.
That's what I want to get at.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to give Sandy Ryan credit for opening up and going in and fighting that fight, regardless of the what happened. Is what I was trying to do. But now that we open it up to the judging, first and foremost with Shoo Shoo, I thought that was a bad judgment call as well. I really did. And I thought that was a big knock on Shoo Shoo because of how dominant he was coming into this bout with the other opponents. I also think that that does have something to do with our opinion when somebody doesn't live up to par when they fight versus getting gifted a decision. So in that form of the fight, we're not going into Mayor. I'm not going into Mayor yet, but I do want to address that fight first. But do y'all really feel like his opponent beat him and was robbed, or do you just feel that Shoo Shoo wasn't looking good that night?
I think Shushu would look okay. He didn't look great, but I don't think that he lost the fight.
Thank you, James, for being honest. Javi or Lucas, sorry.
What about Ryan Lucas?
Lucas, you on mute, buddy. You done muted yourself out the conversation.
Oh man, no, I agree with James for the most part. I just think it was Shoo Shoo not looking as good as he usually does, but I still had him close in that fight. I don't think that was like a robbery or anything.
Oh man, I don't know. I think that was a closer fight for me personally. I think that fight was closer than the Michaela Miller, and I can see it going either way. But I think Segawa edged it. Yes, he did not help himself when he started cruising around on the last round. But again, it was not like it was the difference was 1 point. Some judges already have gave Sushi like 5-6 rounds up the bit. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, and the funny thing is, like, I'm speaking from the other side because you know when you're rooting for your guy and then your guy gets robbed, then you know we talking all that hot shit. We come over here hyped, ready to destroy careers. But let's be honest too, when the bullshit happens, and it's my guy that got the better end of the stick. Hey, I'm still call it. I props to my guy, but hey, you could tell even Sushi reaction. The way he behaves, the way he does interview after the wins, when he had a whole different energy this time because deeply he knew, like, even I know in his head there's a some doubts, and I know he's a solid fighter, so he's gonna come back and do better. But like I said, there's gonna be a question mark on that win. Hopefully he runs it back. And when it comes to
I feel like Segaway, I would rather have been Segaway in that fight. And the reason why is because when you have a boxer and you make them underperform and they're not able to look anywhere close to what they normally look like with boxers that are not as, you know, good as you, then and you're forcing most of the action, by the way. I feel like that's a Segaway. I'm hoping I'm saying his name properly.
Segawa.
Segawa. But anyway, I feel like he just definitely took the fight to me. I would rather, just looking at it, I'm like, I would rather be him in that fight.
Yeah.
But I hope that what happens is Top Rank really looks at him as a boxer and is able to give him another chance with a different boxer. You know, just keep him active and want to bring him back.
Yes, and actually, that's usually what happens in closed doors. behind the scenes, after they even the managers and the promoters, even they feel guilty. And usually I've seen them coming to the guys and be like, hey, we know you didn't get lucky this time, or you didn't get it, but you know what, we're gonna call you. We got something for you. It's kind of like, thank you for taking this L when we know you won, but we're gonna give you something. We're gonna get you paid. Sometimes even throwing them a little extra bonus. No, Sakura.
Little consignment prize, right?
And he did take it very gracefully too.
He gives a little extra for you going on with the show. You know, for being with it. Now, this is one thing because Sakura was talking about it, right? When he was talking about the judges rotating. Now, let's not forget that the judges are not also rotating, but they are also hired by the promotional company that's throwing the event, aka at this point, Top Rank. So these judges, these refs, these doctors, and everybody else involved are getting hired by Top Rank. Now, what do you think is going to happen when there's a little question mark, when they need to decide who they're going to side with? The guy that's paid right in the check, or the guy that's just watching the TV? We know what time it is.
So, in terms of Shushu, I agree with James and Lucas. I feel like it was more disappointment on his side than him getting gifted a decision. Now, moving forward to Mayor versus Sandy Ryan. First of all, let me give both of these women credit. This was a hell of a fight. Men, women, it doesn't matter. This was a hell of a fight. So let me give them both credit and tip my cap out to both you two ladies. That being said, in terms of this decision, I'm more interested, before I share my opinion, I'm more interested in hearing y'all's opinion first. Lucas, Shakur, James, Javi, I know you got something to say when you come back in. What are your true feelings? And let it out. Air it out if you need to. What are your true feelings about this decision?
Who's up?
Javi got a lot to say about it. Javi, what's your true
What
feelings?
am I couldn't hear you.
About what? About Shushu?
No. So turning my opinion back to Mayor versus Sandy Ryan, right? Again, I said I tip my hat to both these ladies. This was a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. Men, women, period. It was a hell of a fight. I tip my cap to both of them. That being said, I want to know, before I stress my opinion, because I know how I feel, I want to know how y'all feel about the decision, for real.
I already told you. You already know. I'm not happy with the decision. I think it was a gift to Michaela, and the few times where Michaela stepped it up in competition and goes for this big challenges, she always came up short. And I believe this time was also the same, but the difference was that she actually got the big, the best end of the stick. But not sure if they're gonna run it back. It will be interesting because regardless of the outcome, it was a really good, solid matchup, a good fight, fan friendly. So I would like to run it back, but I don't think I think that was a gift. And I love Michaela. I'm a fan. I still support her, but that was a little hell for Top Rank. Like, hey, here's this belt, and hopefully you can hold on to it for as much as you can. But I'll tell you what, like I said before, there's a few times when Michaela stepped it up, and I don't think she delivered as well as when the competition was a little less.
I know. I was seeing the results afterwards. I watched the fight. I thought it was a good fight. Just like Shushu, I didn't really see anything that was like drastic. I don't feel like anyone was robbed. I do feel bad for Ryan on the way things like went. You know what I mean? But I think it was just a good fight. I didn't score it, so I wasn't like, ooh, that one landed, so I wasn't nitpicking the fight. So I will admit that. Okay. I was just enjoying the fight. It was a good fight. But again, it could have been a draw, could have been to Sandy, could have been to Mayer. I think either way, I would have been all right.
Yeah,
that was one of those fights that was just around there. You know, it was just really close. Go ahead.
Okay, so Lucas. So I mean, to your argument, right? The first Triple G and Canelo fight was also a good fight.
It was.
Right. So is it okay that they went to Canelo when we also Triple G winning? Was that does that make it okay?
No, it definitely doesn't make it okay. But in that mark too, I think Golovkin beat Canelo a lot more clear than what Ryan is beating Mayer.
That's true. Yeah, I can agree with that.
I mean, everybody keeps talking about that, but remember that first Canelo Triple G fight was a draw, wasn't it?
Nope.
The first one was a draw. Wait.
Yeah. The first one was a draw.
It was a draw. Yeah.
Should have not been a draw.
Right.
Should not been a draw. Yeah.
The second one to Canelo, of course.
The second was a draw, if anything. The second one was a draw, if anything.
I agree with you there.
But
yeah, I mean and that's the problem is the record books are always going to be very flawed with boxing, and there's really no way to beat it. The only way is for people like us to stay around and tell the truth on the shit that really did happen. Okay,
there you go.
You know, Brian really did that ass. Right. You know, you got to scream that from the mountaintop. That's your truth, Javi.
Right. And that's why I was asking you that question, Lucas, because see, we know we understand the politics and the bullshit that comes with the sport, but at the same time, I think like when shit like this happens, when the decision doesn't go to the right person, the right champion, a lot of these champions don't come back. I don't think Kovalev ever come back from the Andre Ward fight, the first one. I also think he won.
And I think he won that too. I think it breaks you. I think it breaks you. You work that hard.
Back. Some guys do come back, and you know, let's say they can move on, leave it behind. Some guys don't come back. So, but what I think is like when you have this strain and shit like that happen, when the decision doesn't go to the right person, then the whole collision course changes. So now we're stuck with what's going on rather than what could have been. You know what I'm saying? Because if you actually give it to the right person, we never know what could happen. We could have more champions. We could have more challenge. You know, the level could be a lot more demanding where guys need to step it up because the belts are not being kept here purposely. A lot of times, let's be honest here, we kind of want the belts here, and we kind of like side with Americans, and we want Americans to have them because, you know, boxing is a lot more popular here. But at the same time, there's times when guys from other parts of the world, they come and they do their job and they deserve to get those opportunities that come with the belt. They deserve to give us those fights that we know we don't know what could be. So that's my thing for me. So when a decision like that happens, you know what? I wouldn't be so upset about it if it's a draw, because a draw means that you're not giving nobody an L, and they both can pretty much either go back at it or find another possible route, but you're not tainting their record. You're not bringing them down with an L, because L does not feel good for anything in life. But when you're a fighter, you're the worst critic of your life. So an L is really eats you alive from the inside. You know what I'm saying? So
I can understand that. And I've had a couple of different thoughts about it. Right. So like, the ones that you're contesting, those tough fights, if you're able to get the rematch, if you can do like a series of fights, you're going to get a true winner out of that normally. But then again, we have Golovkin, Canelo, where obviously things don't go as planned. But would you guys be open, and I know they've done it before and it really didn't work out, to more of an open scoring, but a live open scoring?
No.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. While doing that, stop having these motherfucking judges be this silent partner in boxing that nobody ever gets to hear from, right? No, you are getting interviewed after this fight, right? You're getting interviewed. The judge is going to have to say, this is why I scored it this way. You know what I mean? And at least maybe there'd be some less mad, fucking fight fans in the world.
So I think the interview should happen no matter what, Lucas. That's a great idea, period. I think that should happen no matter what.
Because there's never any repercussions for these judges. There's not. There is no defending yourself. There's no, I'm going to score whatever the fuck I want, and I'm getting out of here.
Well, it puts a voice to the reason, right? So when we're all outraged, or y'all, I'll say y'all, because I haven't spoken on it yet. But when y'all are outraged about the decision, then at least there's an explanation there from these judges. Well, I scored about this way because it's such and such. And then you guys can go look at the tape back and see if you see that point of view. So I think the interview should happen, period. The open scoring, I do not. And especially not in this case, because I think that's only going to hinder Sandy Ryan's performance more. That's going to hinder her performance more, especially if she feels like she's winning the bout or is in the bout and then hears that she's not. I feel like that's going to deter her more from trying her hardest to gut out a victory or even keep it close. You're on mute again, Lucas.
I hear what you're saying. It's just, it's going to be both ways, right? Because you're going to have those guys who are either behind in the fight and then they're going to step it up. You know what I mean? They're going to be able to look up and be like, how the fuck did I just lose that round? What do I need to do? And they can either pour on more and, you might see a better fight because of that, or it could take the opposite route and you're up. Right, you're up. You can coast, and unfortunately, you'll get some of that too with open scoring.
I don't really.
But at least this way, the fighter knows if he's gonna get fucked. Can you imagine open scoring on that draw for Canelo Floyd? Like,
I mean, for me, I think what should happen is if you want to watch the open scoring, maybe you should be able to go to a website or app or something and see it, instead of ruining that not knowing feeling that a lot of us fans like myself want to have. Like, I don't want to know until I know at the end. Like, it just ruins my fight. Like, even when once I know who's the winner or what's the decision, then it's hard for me to go back and watch a fight. I will go back and watch it, but it's not as exciting as it is when you catch it live and you don't know what the expectation. You know what the expectation is, but you don't have that like little anxiety feeling, that energy, where you're like, anticipating that final and the new, or and the undefeated champion is still, you don't have that moment when you have the open scoring. That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, no, you kind of.
If you want to go look it up on an app or something like that and not ruin it for all the fans, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. It's almost like a Christmas present. You ruin it for yourself. Well, I definitely feel you there, but at the same time, part of me,
it's like CompuBox, Yeah.
Part of me would think it would get rid of some of the corruption, at least a little bit, or at least they would have to defend their corruption. I would like to see, like, okay, so we're all watching a fight. We all thought, Canelo won that round. So, and then it comes up, Munguia won that round, right? But then it would have Judge A says, I liked how Munguia had more ring control. His defense was better. He landed just as many punches. At least there would be like a reasoning. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I feel you because I don't really like the open scoring either, but I think maybe it would cut down on some of these judges' bullshit.
So here's my take. I purposely did this coming into this show, especially because I want to be able to give a more honest opinion, not biased. A more honest opinion on my take on these situations, right? So I studied with Shakur. I studied the CompuBox numbers in this fight. All right, and I looked over the numbers, guys. It was a total outlanded punch by one.
Right.
That's it. One punch was the total output number landed by one punch. So to me, that's a very close, very, very close fight. Hold on, Luke. Hold on. Let me finish. Second thing I looked at, percentage-wise, still very close. You know somebody's going to be the aggressor. So when I look at percentages, I want to see if somebody's overly aggressive, you know, because that also to me can sway the judges, right? And it was close. It was 33% by 29. Still very close in this fight. Power punches landed were also very close. Very close, right? So I'll say two things. The only nudge that I could give Michaela Mayer in this fight were the body shots. That is really the only nudge. But when have you ever heard a fighter win a decision because of how they went to the body? You don't. You usually hear that being a difference in the outcome of the fight being a knockout or at least a knockdown, right? So
but you should hear it more because those are punches that are devalued in a way. So I do believe that they should be counting more body punches, you know, or giving just as much credit for body punching as they do any other punch. And besides a KO, obviously.
Yeah, if not more.
And I agree. Looking back though, to finish my point, because I know y'all want to make points off of these, but based off of those numbers, then you go and you look at the ring generalship, guys. This fight was back and forth because it was fought both on the inside as well as at range as well. And one style benefited the other fighter. When Mayer was able to get on the inside, she hurt her pretty bad with some great uppercuts. When Sandy was able to get her on the outside, she was able to catch her with some clean, straight hands. So when I look at that, and the defense, let's be honest, the defense was all over the place for both gals. Okay, this was a toe-to-toe fight. So how I look at this, and you'll be surprised, Shakura, other than the body, which you made a great point, and I don't know, because like Lucas said, they didn't interview the judges. We couldn't hear what they were thinking. But other than the body, you have to come in and take the championship belt away. And I do not believe that Michaela Mayer came in and took the belt away. I felt like, if anything, at most, she earned herself a draw.
Okay.
Does that surprise the panel now?
I'm with it. I'm with that. The whole thing about it is, I'm not gonna take away from body shots. They do have an effect. Yeah, sometimes we do get knockdowns off of body shots, and sometimes we actually get a stoppage off of body shots. Now, sometimes it takes a lot more skill to land a body shot than a regular headshot. So, but it does have an effect. Based on what I've seen, and I can only talk about what my eyes saw. You know what I'm saying? I saw the one fighter from the UK having the most effective aggression and the most, I would say, punishing shots. She was clocking Michaela a lot of times coming in. Michaela ate some hooks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It was really a good. Stylistically, it was a good matchup because they were both even match. But I think Sandy Ryan actually did a little better with her boxing, with her pressure. Whenever she stepped it up, Mayer couldn't handle that. When Mayer tried to step it up, she did land in a few shots, but then Sandy will recoup and get back to her game plan. I believe that it was close, and I believe Sandy Ryan edged it, But at the same time, like I said, if I have a question mark in this fight, then I believe, if anything, then Sandy Ryan deserves a rematch, and we all want to see it. And I want to see, because at the end of the day, rematch always shows us who's going to be the one to race to the occasion. The first time they got to know each other. The second time, that's when you see the difference of levels. I would love to see the rematch, not just because of the decision, because, like I said, it was a good fight. They were going at it. Them ladies were working, and this is what women's boxing needs, anyways, because it was really exciting. It was fan friendly. That little tainted with the decision, but regardless of the fact, both athletes came in shape. They were putting in work, and it was a very quality match. At some point, it felt like a chess match. And, a lot of the ladies don't get credit for that, but that was some high quality IQ boxing right there, back and forth.
Yeah, definitely what boxing needs, and especially women's boxing right now. Not to mention the out of the ring animosity now that is also in there. So, you got some backstory to a fight. You got some depth to it. I mean, the rematch needs to happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Lucas,
It'll probably happen this year.
You look like you wanted to make a point earlier in what I was saying.
But do y'all think it actually will happen?
Probably not.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Rob, my point to you, I agree with what you're saying about the punch stats. Punch stats can tell a story, and they do tell a story, but they do not tell the whole story. Unfortunately, you could land half of your punches in one damn round. You win that round. You still 10-9, motherfucker. You have to prolong that. So I hear what you're saying, and I agree. I think it was close. I think the punch stats reflect that it was close, but I'm just saying you can't always go by that.
I wasn't reflect. That's why I went into the ring generalship and vice versa.
I appreciated that. That's why I kind of didn't say anything. I was going to let it go.
And Hobby, another thing real quick, Hobby, with Sandy, though, also. Now, I said what I said, about what I felt. So I'm not biased. I'm not biased to Michaela here. But also, you do have to give Michaela some credit, but you also have to fault Sandy in there for letting it get into a close battle at close range and getting caught with them uppercuts. So, yeah, Sandy may have been aggressive and she may have been landing shots in there, but she also let Michaela get in there as well.
Yeah, it was back and forth, but I don't think it was a matter of her letting Michaela. It was more a matter of like Michaela's game being applied, regardless if Sandy Ryan let it or not. But now, what Lucas said, and I forgot to talk about that when I had my little part. Yeah, relying on CompuBox stats, I'm not sure about that, man. That's like going to the bar with Monopoly money.
I didn't say that though. See that now. I'm analytical, so yes, I look at those stats, and I think those should be studied, especially when you have poor decisions. You should look at that. But like Lucas said, it doesn't tell the hotel, which is why you have different categories. You also have ring generalship. You have defense. So you have those other things. In my opinion, everything was close. Like everything was close to the point where the only thing I could look at aside from the body shots, the only thing that I could look at is, did Michaela go in? I had to ask myself then, did Michaela go in here and take that title away? No, she didn't.
I don't know. Steve Alexander was a great fight. I personally had it at a draw. Now let's see a rematch. Of course, our good friends, Boxing Playhouse, Sakura. I really do not think there will be a rematch. I gotta agree. I mean, I really don't see one happening. They stole the belt. They just gonna run with it.
And Michaela, this is a new weight class.
I mean, I'm also seeing it.
You can go ahead.
I'm also saying it just because, Michaela Mayers she's been in like 2 other wars besides this, and came up on the losing side. So this third time when it was very, very close, I don't think they're going to put her in that position again because they want to keep that belt. with Michaela, for obvious reasons, but also because, Top Rank, they're gonna keep that belt as long as they can. So I just don't see that there's gonna be a rematch. I would love to see a rematch, but I don't know if we're gonna see a rematch. Although Michaela Maris did want the rematch with Baumgardner, let's remember.
That's what I
So
want to know,
she
Shakur.
doesn't like it when it's yeah.
Is Baumgardner at that weight now? Did she move up as well?
Yeah, but she's a lot lighter.
So
She
she's
did move
still
up.
lighter.
She's super feather.
All right. So that's an interesting concept, Shakur, or question for you, because I don't know where she would go after this. So where do you think Mayer is wanting to go after this if she doesn't take this rematch?
I mean, were there other belts out there? Technically, McCaskill never got her belts taken from her at welterweight. You also got, I think Cecilia Brackets just won her fight, but at super welterweight, that's not that far of a jump. They're still in the same range. Um, you know, Now you got Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano hanging around and hovering at super lightweight. So, it's all starting to come together. You got Cameron, she's still out there. That was Katie Taylor's last opponent. And then you have this killer fight, of course, with Katie Taylor's and Amanda Serrano for the rematch. So there could be a possible fight there if Michaela's willing to come down. She's already been there at 135 or 140 ish. Because remember, their weight classes are a little bit different. Where so it's all can be done inside of a certain range. The only one that's gone up particularly heavy now is Clarissa Shields by going up to heavyweight. Her and Franchon Cruz, they're up at, they're in the heavier weight zones. But everybody else is kind of hovering around the same thing. Because even Amanda Serrano's titles, for her undisputed title is at featherweight. But she's jumped up. You see how well she does with the weight, going up and down as she wants to. That's what's so phenomenal about her as a boxer. Her and Clarissa, they have the ability to go up and down as they need to. But I would just say that they all have the ability to get into that 130 to 154 range, or or because 160 is still 160. That brings it to middleweight. So fights can be made in that range. You got Harper still out there too, winning her fight the other day. Then you got some new players coming in, like the ladies fight that we saw earlier in Top Rank's card. So, I mean, there's some talent out here.
For sure.
Lucas, what you got up here now for us?
All right. Switching topics here. Of course, we have heard Haney's suing Ryan Garcia for battery, fraud, breach of contract. But apparently still claiming Oscar De La Hoya still owes him money as well. This is Oscar's tweet. Enough is enough. Every fighter who has worked with Golden Boy has always been paid exactly what they are owed and given all documents they were entitled to, period. Any suggestion to the contrary is simply false. If the Haneys are still having trouble understanding their contract, we'll be happy to walk them through it again.
Can I say something? No.
Go ahead, Rob.
No. Why do they all say that then? Why, Oscar? Why do they all say that then? This is not the only fighter that said that about you. So
I got you here.
What do you mean every fighter? What, are they all delusional? Sorry, go ahead, Lucas.
You don't hear a Golden Boy getting sued left and right. Everybody looking for their money. This is a relatively new topic, right? I mean, he has to be paying. You kind of have to be, or you be in court nonstop. So
he's not suing. Okay, so context on that. He's not suing Oscar De La Hoya. He's suing He's
but
suing
he's still
Ryan
running
Garcia.
his mouth saying he didn't get paid what he got paid. Oscar De La Hoya can turn around and be like, hey, man, I'm going to sue you instead. Defamation. You're saying I'm not paying you. You got paid. Your contract is paid in full.
But right.
Haney suing Ryan Garcia is even more ridiculous. Look, this dude should be embarrassed of himself. What the fuck are we doing here? Like, why? I'm sorry, man. I don't understand. That's some, for lack of a better word, that's some pussy shit. What are you gonna do? Why are we doing this? Like, this is a fight. I understand. And you agreed to the weight differential already. You're a fucking idiot for doing that, because I wouldn't have done that. Somebody weighs 3 pounds over, and this is a title fight. And I'm not talking about just normal title fight. This ain't no bar or some local club fight. This is for a fucking world title. You didn't even make weight, so you can't win the belts. And you agreed. Oh, well, 3 pounds, who cares shit, right? And now you go come and claw him. Battery? Get the fuck out of here. If he had plasters of Paris, okay, take him up for battery. This was not that. You got your ass whooped by somebody who was juicing. Yeah, but this was not that. Stop with this fucking shit. Battery and front breach of contract. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Haney. That's all I got to say.
It just makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I was thinking about that earlier today, because I hear that he's planning to sue, but he didn't actually file a lawsuit yet, or maybe he did. But it's going to take a while before a judge is willing to hear this case, because it's there's too much question here. I don't think that it'll go anywhere in court. I don't think anyone will pick this case up. He had every chance to cancel the fight,
get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, this seems to me like a big old nothing burger. I think we'll forget about this in a few days, this lawsuit. And if it doesn't go away, well, I don't think that Haney's going to look very good.
He already don't look good. He looks terrible doing this shit.
The idea is that he's claiming that loss of income because the outcome of that fight. But I think the most important thing there is that he lost that fight fair and square. It's too bad the results of Ryan Garcia's results came back after the fight, but that's just the way it is. But yeah, he looks pretty stupid filing a lawsuit for battery. Just none of this shit makes any sense. It's another black eye for boxing, is what it is.
What's next?
So let me read this to put it in perspective for y'all, because James has a good point. So it actually says Devin Haney filed a lawsuit against Ryan Garcia on Friday in New York, seeking damages for battery, fraud, and breach of contract.
What part is fraud?
Hold on. Let me. I'm gonna get to that. Haney seeks unspecified damage and alleges Garcia committed battery because his contest was limited to a bout held fairly and under the rules. While Devin Haney agreed to participate in a prize fight against Garcia, at no time did he agree to engage in a bout against an individual who had taken performance-enhancing drugs. Haney also claimed Garcia committed fraud because he represented that he had tried to make weight and failed.
Devin Haney himself can just shut the fuck up. Dude, you come in weighing 15 pounds over anyway, so please shut the fuck up. You can't knock somebody for not making weight, and then the day of the fight, you're 20 pounds over. Like, please, dude, take your own advice and just shut the fuck up. Like, I was backing you. I agree with him. He got fucked. But guess what? You fucked yourself, Haney. You signed on the dotted line saying it was cool. No, it's not cool. Look, you're just ruining your rep even more. I don't care to see you fight no more. Please step away from the fight game. If you're going to sit here and talk about suing the next fucking opponent, nobody wants to see this shit. It's like Baker Mayfield, Rob. He gets hit too hard on the football field, and then he's going to go sue somebody? Oh, you broke my leg. What the fuck? You can't
You know what
do
I'm
that.
thinking is he also owes Haney money for not making weight. I think it was like $500,000 per pound.
Yeah. And
So
I
there's
mean,
like
look,
1.5 right there.
any judge is just
It's probably still up in the air. But because he filed a lawsuit doesn't mean that it's going to court.
No.
You can file a lawsuit all you want. It's not till someone is actually going to hear your case. And I don't know if that's been assigned yet.
And but any judge in the right mind. Go ahead.
Right. I mean, I don't know, because I mean, I know what James says, but even if he doesn't go to court, just the simple fact that you go on that route says a lot from you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I said it before. There's some fighters like a defeat will definitely expose a man. Some type of L, it will expose a man's character. It will really show what he's made of. And we've seen it with Wilder when he come out with some crazy allegations and crazy conclusions. You know, we're seeing it right now with Haney going through all these. Like, it's like, what, 6 months later, and the dude is still having fucking PTSD with Ryan. He probably wakes up in the middle of the night, oh shit, Ryan left hook. You know, like, first of all, when it comes to Haney, I believe that he is the hypocrisy for me. Is the fakeness of like, first of all, you the one that be fucking blowing up in weight, fighting the smaller guys when you have like a clearly 20-pound overweight on them, which you cannot knock them out even with 20 pounds over them. You can still not knock them out. So something about your hands. And 25. Right, there you go. Try 25, and then it's like when you don't get your weight, man. You know, you already had the decision overturned. Now you suing the guy and the promotional company, and you bringing courts and lawyers into this whole thing. I don't know how is the next opponent going to look at this and be like, oh yeah, I want to fight that guy. You know, or the promoters, the managers be like, oh, let's go that route. You know, them guys are calling the courts and the lawyers. Let's call him up. I don't think that's good for business anyways. That's one. Two, Mr. Bill Haney. There's a few times when this man came into interviews talking all that hot shit, you know, the hood. Yeah, I'm a street N-word. I'm a N-word from the streets and the hood and blah, blah, blah. You talking all the hot talk, the street talk game. That's what we're doing now. Because if you're really about it, if you're really from the streets, the last thing you want to bring into this shit is courts, lawyers, and anything that has to do with the justice system, right? If you're really a street N-word, like you say, then keep it in the streets. Catch him on the streets, smack him up, do what you gotta do. Mind you, Devin Haney swing at a civilian at some type of park, at a festival park. It still didn't drop him. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Walked away, and that civilian, he has plenty of reasons to sue him for assault because he's a registered professional fighter, and he's not going that route. But Devin Haney is going the route of suing Ryan Garcia. You see what I'm getting to? The whole fakeness, hypocrisy, and a straight lame shit. You know what I'm saying? It just like, man, I don't know if I will ever look at that father and son duo the same. I'm sure, hopefully business could be as well for them after this. But I think that train, it started another collision course, and I'm not sure if that's going to be the good one because it's not good for business. As far as the street talk, it's also not good for the street talk, and all that shit that was said. They pretty much is coming back. All that karma that they've done around is coming back to them, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to act about it, and they're being exposed. I believe.
So
it's definitely not
finish.
Street. Street would be knocking on Haney's door. Come out and play.
Let me finish.
Go into the cop. Oh, come on, man. Go ahead, Rob.
Let me finish the article really quick because it gets a little better into what Hobby says. So I'm gonna start with the quote coming from your boy, Mr. Haney, Devin's father, Bill Haney. So Bill Haney says it's not just about Devin, not about the championship, not about shit that he did. It's about the sport and what's right and what's wrong. They say left hook, and we say it was drugs. That's Bill Haney. Now, let me go to Ryan Garcia. Ryan says, I'm being sued for doing my job. Your Honor, he just simply has left hook syndrome. Also, Ryan is alluding that this is about to be a Netflix documentary. So we should definitely stay tuned, fellas.
Look,
Go
I
ahead.
hate them both. I hate them both. I do. I hate them both right now. But the Bill Haney thing, or the Haney thing period, is just funny. It's just funny. What do you expect? I mean, are you just gonna sue anybody that does you wrong anymore? I hope you didn't make weight. I'm about to sue you. Like,
I mean, that is the American way. Let's be honest here.
Like
It's
Steve
another
says,
thing that bothers me too, and that's that you're suing someone that has a mental illness, and you know that when it has yet to be, it was proven that most of the things you thought that was in his system were not even in his system. That was number one, where they knew that something happened. And then the second time they tested him was for the Astria, what was it? Yes, like, and they said it was so like minuscule what was in his system that it probably didn't have an effect. So I feel like the most part that got him in trouble was the extra 3 pounds, and they did that strategically because they knew that Haney was going to come in super heavy that night too. So I mean, it really was an even fight to me. But since he wants to sue, I mean, I feel like these lawsuits, like this one, puts a tarnish on the sport of boxing. Is like, well, why should I watch this when I see, like, I thought when two boxers signed the contracts, that's the end of it, and now I'm seeing where a boxer is suing another boxer. Like, this is almost like a drama show now. Yeah, like it is Netflix special. That's how people that are kind of like interested in the sport or were interested in the sport, they kind of back off with things like this too. So it has other aspects and ramifications that I don't think Haney is really thinking about right now, because he's in I call it me five me mode. And that's kind of like a sorority where you're all about yourself. So,
well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's a mastermind, because right now I want to see him fight somebody that's going to really whip his ass, and that's what I want to see. Maybe that's his plan. Maybe he's turning into this character that he's putting on. But
I mean,
regardless,
I really don't think that's going to work with him. Like,
steroids are going to help with certain things.
Also, other boxers that he's fought and he's did things like this to, like Linares, they're all saying, hey, well, the way I look at it is he's just getting payback for the tricks and the things that he did in our fights.
That's what I'm saying.
That's how they see it.
You know what I'm saying? And I know Ryan is saying there's gonna be a Netflix documentary, but in the Spanish we call this shit a novela, which is a straight reality TV melodrama type shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Imagine Cotto suing Margarito for the hand wraps. Just picture that.
That's more deserving, though. That's more deserving.
Way more deserving.
If anything, he had a reason, plenty of reasons. But what he did, he went back to the drawing board and he settled it in the ring, like we expecting fights to do. I don't know. I mean, I think Mike Tyson said it best. Man, this guy saying no killers. They're businessmen, so they're moving like businessmen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great point. That's what the court should order. I told Javi they should order a rematch. They be like, okay, you won your case, and our decision is that your compensation is you get a rematch.
Look, this is the way I see it, right? You're complaining about the steroids because that's what he's basically saying led to assault. Are you yourself signed up for 24/7 drug testing? No? Then shut the fuck up. Get out of my courtroom. Anybody, and anybody for that matter, anybody that tested positive, I would say you don't get to come back to the sport, right? You are suspended indefinitely until you sign up for 24/7 VADA testing. And at that point, you will be allowed to fight again. And at any point, if you stop paying for your testing, you are back to being suspended. Well, it is like SR22 insurance. You ever been pulled over for not having insurance on a car? You have to prove consistently that you have insurance. These motherfuckers out here in boxing and ruining the sport, because this is a joke. Like, if I was a new to UFC and some shit like this, one of their titleists are suing another one, I would just laugh and turn it off. I'd never fucking watch this shit again. You're hurting the sport. This is fucking pathetic.
No one can afford testing. I mean, it's really, really expensive.
I find that bullshit. Maybe you're right, James. Maybe, but I think it's all bullshit.
Yeah, I think if you sign up for it and you're consistent, then they start giving you better and better pricing. Yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm making this initial investment, but down the line, I'm not going to have to pay as much, and I'm doing it the way Donaire did it, where you can, I'm clean,
right.
and for somebody that's got a lot of power, like Donaire, it would have been easy for somebody to be like, oh, it's because he's on some type of peds he's using or whatever, and he found a way to do it in which nobody's questioning anything about his career. And that's what every boxer should want. They should want to make sure that nobody's questioning their career and their wins and who they knocked out and their power in certain fights.
Yeah,
I would think it would be a huge benefit.
I think so too. And Rob, you're right. You're not going to have anybody sitting there saying, well, he don't have a lot of money either. Donaire's, he's done well, but I don't think he's a super wealthy fighter. I think there's a lot of fighters with a lot more money, Canelo, who don't pay for the 24/7 Canelo, who did not want to sign up for testing and end up throwing his belt away and vacating it. What does that sound like? I mean, come on, man. We already know what it is. Most people are trying to get away with something, right? That's most of it. I think 90% of fighters are doing it, and I think we all just kind of turn a blind eye to it. You don't even think about how many times there's no testing done at all. No testing. I don't hear nobody else after that fight saying, oh, well, now I want to get a test. I want to go back and have a lawsuit. I want to make sure this fight was on the up and up. No fight in boxing, not one fucking fight, has ever been on the up and up. Not in the last decade, probably not in the last 2 fucking decades. There will never be a fight that is on the up and up in the square circle. Never will be.
Well, James, real quick, because you've been quiet, I have 2 more statements from this article to wrap it up. It's a wrap-up statement. But
yeah, it's getting late.
But, okay, so to wrap it up, to take context into the issue with Golden Boy, it says that the reason the lawsuit or the allegations that lead to Golden Boy is because Devin Haney was the contract agreed to Devin Haney receiving 47% of the proceeds, and Devin Haney now wants a count from Oscar De La Hoya of all expenses. He wants a full accounting of that. So that's the dispute with the money issue with Golden Boy is that they feel Golden Boy isn't releasing a full accounting to them.
Right.
And then the last thing that should all be said, which is what we're all agreeing to, how punkish this is. They last fought when Devin Haney hasn't fought since, nor does he have anything scheduled since.
Well, I think Devin Haney fought once after Garcia, or has he not fought?
No, he has not fought.
Okay, well, the thing with the accounting, he's entitled to the accountability there. That should be provided by the promoter anyway, and that should all be decided before. But
from my understanding, that would still be the highest grossing.
But still, I mean, this is about
fight for Haney.
It's still about accountability. It's not about a quantity of or dollar amount. But the idea is that should be provided by the promoter, and they should agree on that beforehand. But I mean, this is all just this is all just a mess. It's just
know,
another black eye.
Stay tuned to Netflix, folks.
I agree with you on the last point that obviously any boxer that's this reminds me of when Bud was making the fight with Spence, and they said he could have so much percentage of the profit, meaning after all of the deductions were for the fight occurred. You would want to make sure that you are getting a true number of what it costs to put this fight on. But to first, Rob said that he was still saying that the pay, like he was supposed to get a certain percentage, right? So, but my understanding is it still is, if he didn't fight Ryan, he wouldn't have had a fight that was that much money to be garnered. Because he was basically looking for a money fight, and that's the reason why he agreed to the 3 extra pounds, and a couple of after the weigh-in. Was because there was so much money on the line for him that he kind of like he had a choice, but in a way, I feel like you don't want to turn down that type of money when you've already been through a full camp and etc. And you done created all these bills for everyone that's been in your camp. I don't think that you want to incur, just stopping the fight like that when it is your hugest payday. So I don't know. I have to say that I'm a little frustrated with Haney because I had at the beginning of his career, I had such high hopes in his career, and and the fact that it just looks like he doesn't even stay in shape for fights. You're supposed to be fight ready. I mean, you guys seen him in certain interviews lately. I mean, it's like, I see why Floyd wasn't too enamored with him, honestly, in a way, because he's such a, fit freak, and, no alcohol, and, certain things that he does with his body that, he's not going to find it appealing to see other boxers that want to blow up in between fights like that. You have the right to do it, but are you really in fight shape if you continue to be so much more over what your fight weight is? I don't know. I don't see that dedication that I thought that he was going to have in his career to his craft. And I want to see that. Like, that's the thing.
In the end, Ryan Garcia is suspended, and I'm really happy about that because we see a lot less of him these days. That's good.
Yeah, no. It seems to me like he's just trying to milk Ryan Garcia for all that he's worth. They're all of these things are laughable, from the battery to fraud, breach of contract, breach of fucking contract. We're talking about the fight contract. Make me fucking laugh. These fight contracts get changed at the drop of a hat, sometimes at the last second before they enter the fucking ring. Shut the fuck up with the breach of contract, please. Jesus Christ. How many times did Canelo change it to 156 at the drop? Oh, I can't make 154. We'll just change it. It makes it sound so much better when, they're meeting at a catch weight. No, motherfucker, they were supposed to meet at 154. They just changed it to 156 at the last second. They wouldn't do it if that was Angulo who couldn't make weight. But for Canelo, we'll make an exception. Look,
he's in charge of the promotion, so that's pretty much the way it goes.
That'll make it right.
Particularly James. With Canelo, not at all, but that's just the way they work.
Well, that's the way it works for the A
side. For a long time, and they take control of the promotion and call all the shots. But who gets what and how it's done and everything, he calls the shots.
Yeah,
they're good at it. They're very good at it.
Yeah, they got teams of lawyers. They got other stuff that's going to be able to fix these kind of issues and get in and get out. And make
I just thought that he had gotten his way when he had the New York Commission to suspend him for such a long period of time. And also the money that he was fined, it was the strictest and the strongest penalty in recent years that we've had of an actual athlete. And Haney was able to get that L off his record, which was I thought that was his main motivation, is that the record would not reflect that he had lost that fight. So I mean, what are we now trying to prove here? What else do you want to prove? I don't get it.
And
Now
that's why,
everybody has a value, and everybody wants to be treated as though they have value. So if he hasn't received all his money, or there's other things that really should be happening that didn't, that's I don't know about it, but totally that could be, we don't know. But if you're just saying, I just still want to just keep sticking it to a mentally challenged person, I mean, I just don't find that very appetizing as a fan, like for me to support you in the future.
And I think it looks bad on boxing as a whole too. It's not just on him. I mean, it is a big part on him.
It's a shit show.
It really is. Now I just my final statement. I know we're running late here. Please tune in next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We are going to be having a Bivol Beterbiev fest. I've been waiting for this fight. This is one of the great fights that are to be made. Honestly, going to say who's the best. It will give us who's the best in that weight division. And somebody could definitely be moving up and down and pound for pound potential as well. So definitely check us out next Tuesday, 9 p.m. East, 6 p.m. Pacific. But kind of the ending statement here, I see a lot of it in boxing, and I don't know if it's the new generation or what it is, but guys that just can't take the loss. We got Wilder saying, oh, this guy poisoned me, and you got Haney complaining about and suing people. Back in the day, maybe Rob remembers, but Andre Fonfara up in Chicago, he's going to blame Sam Kalina for not keeping your hands up and getting knocked out in the first round. I'm sorry, but a lot of fighting is still going to rely on you. And Devin Haney, no matter how many steroids the man take, that not happen to knock the sense into you to actually have your hands up. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have been able to land. Some of this stuff most of it is still these guys' faults. And they just will not say, hey, he's the better man. He won. That's all we want to hear. And there's robberies everywhere in boxing. This is a big part of the show, and it definitely messes with history. But guys, you got to keep tuning into shows like this and other boxing podcasts from guys that actually know what they're talking about, because this sport is not what the history book says it is. This sport is so much deeper and so much more corrupt. There's a reason why it's not going to be in the 2028 Olympics. Boxing's been going on a downward spiral, and it doesn't look like it's turning up anytime soon. Sorry to be negative, Nancy. CJ, the lawsuit is a joke. I completely agree. Thank you all.
Tell him, CJ.
That's right. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great show. Sakura, go ahead. You're going to say something.
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying. I just wanted to also add, it's Bivol Beterbiev. That's an amazing fight. But on October 19th, we still got a killer PBC card that's going to be in Orlando at the Caribe Royale. And it's going to be featuring a super, what is it called? A super welterweight. Yes, 154. IBF title is on the line. That is with Tim Tszyu versus the actual champion, Murtazaliev. And that's going to be October 19th, live at the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida.
The Fundora has not fought yet. Why not fighting Fundora? That's going to be next. That's going to be next show. Tune in. Why is he not facing Fundora? Beterbiev will knock Bivol out. Watch Canelo run. CJ, please come on next week. You got to check this out. But thank you all for tuning in. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a good night.